Michigan moderates look at your electric bill. This isn't inflation, it's a setup. While insiders cash out, families get gouged. Tonight, we expose the scam. This is Raging Michigan Moderates.
Holy heck, Michigan, what's going on? Look at your electric bill. Mine felt like it doubled. No, really, actually go look at it. Because that's the thing here. It took a sledgehammer to your wallet this month. At least it did mine. Laughed and walked away while whistling. I'm Joe here at Raging Michigan Moderates. This isn't partisan. This is not a hack. It's just fed up Michigan moderates standing in my kitchen, your kitchen, staring at a bill that makes absolutely no damn sense. And meanwhile, DTE, Consumers Energy, they're bleeding families dry. Lansing pats them on the back, says thanks for really not sure. And the Public Service Commission is supposed to set this. A lot of these executives they're linked to, some of them, just sitting on yachts while we're struggling to pay. But right now, February 2026, this isn't speculation. This is happening to you. DTE is trying to ram through another rate hike. $574 million, while I believe Michigan has lost umpteen thousand jobs this year already, and we're only in February. And they're already doing it during record inflation. The commission and them, they all agreed to raise rates several times while you were already broke. It's 11% straight to the gut. It's $13 more at least, every single month for the privilege of sitting in the dark. Consumers Energy, they want another $460 million electric grab. Gas has already jumped, or natural gas, I should say, already has jumped 8.1%. More gas cases pending that they're trying to do, more price bombs are coming. And if you think this is temporary, wake up. Wake up. This is not a Republican or a Democrat issue. And I'm sure there's going to be these clowns on here, going, oh, you're centrist. Stop with that. This is about what people are paying. And the rates are up 117% in 20 years. Michigan families pay nearly 20 cents per kilowatt hour. While outages, blackouts, excuses pile up, they'll be like, oh, well, they try to nitpick and cherry pick to turn things around. Oh, it's not that bad. Well, what they're not telling you is they're including the wealthier areas that have significant less outage, and they use that to bring down the average of the areas that have lack of investment. Politicians aren't telling you that, though. But if this doesn't make you frustrated, check your pulse. Because we're going to unload everything and give you an outline of it, and then call your reps, email them. The latest rate case scams, we're going to go over the overcharges hiding in plain sight, the renewable incentives they dangle while still whipping us. The so-called reforms that are really sellouts. Ohio protects families while Michigan gets fleeced. State government, take notice, because I'm always very promoting state government. And the AI data center betrayal, that may be the biggest scam of all, and there's other states that are starting to do it right. Stay with me, because the real rage detonates later. And if you bail early, you miss the part that makes you rage share this. And this is every moderate you should know. But you know what hurts the most? I'm not anti-business. I'm in business. I'm not anti-energy. We all need it. And I'm not anti-progress. Do we need to change things up? Do we need alternatives? Yes, we do. But I just want it fair, reliable, without being robbed. But the Michigan Public Service Commission?
If you've never seen the pipeline, watch this. The utility files a case, the MPSC approves it, and the ratepayer pays the bill. This monopoly system means customers have no escape from these costs.
That's not oversight. That's a puppet show. Look how many times your rate has went up. I think, 3-4 times in the last 5 years? 3 appointees, 0 accountability, unlimited rate hikes. It feels like. The green light increases while outages mock us. They approve returns while families choose between heat and groceries. DT's asking for double-digit returns, millions in legal fees. Consultants billing thousands of dollars per page. and we're told to trust this process. We shouldn't. This isn't regulation. This is essentially them trying to call it legalized theft. It makes absolutely no sense. And our state government is the one who appoints it. That's what you got to be mad about. Your state government is the one doing this. They need to be going, hey, we need to be waving the red flag that this is not okay. But here's the part. Try not to throw your phone or whatever it is. Try not to break whatever you're listening to. Check your bill. Please check your bill. Because if they did make a mistake and you can prove it, they will correct it. Because the overcharges aren't rare. They're built in. Faulty meters take a while to replace them unless they want to come in your house. Then you better be ready right away. Billing errors, they're not going to notice them unless you do. Misreads, again, they're not going to notice them unless you do. Something that we do in my company is we record, your electric meter has a reading. We record it every day in the highest demand. And if you track that and things aren't going crazy every day, when you get your bill, you can call BS on it. Take that to the bank, DTE. There's no automatic audits. There's no mass refunds, no accountability. If it's under $10, you just eat it and don't even think about it. If you miss the deadline, you lose it. This isn't incompetence. It's designed this way. Utilities profit from complexity, just like the law, confusion, and exhaustion. They're not doing this they're not making a common oopsie mistake. No, this is how the business model is set up. It's set up so that way you don't notice it when it happens. But let's talk a little bit about the reliability part of it, right? Because, the promises were with all these rate hikes, they're going to get reliability. A lot of neighborhoods are going to get wires put underground. Well, yeah, you see a lot of wealthier neighborhoods getting that stuff that are older. Neighborhoods that don't got multi-million-dollar homes. Crickets. I ain't seen nothing. Some trees got trimmed. That's about it. I'm not criticizing the workers. This is how the DT management has set it up. And that to me, that's like part of the issue with the reliability. Because Michigan's grid can be embarrassing sometimes when you see the states that don't invest as much money as us with better uptimes. It's like, what the heck? We're dead last in outage duration, bottom tier year after year, and storms knock us out for hours while other states shrug and move on. Not all states, because there's some states that have some serious problems, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about our home. Billions collected, promises made. I mean, just like politicians, promises made, nothing done. Nothing's fixed. Go look up DTE. They're a public company, right? They made like $1 billion, $2-3 billion in the last couple of years, at least, in profit. High rates, low performance. That's not bad luck, guys. That's a scam. We're paying premium prices for crappy reliability. Now they'll tell you, just wait, improvements take time. We've been waiting for years. 5 years for scraps, 10 years for real fixes, 20 years for what we should already have. Where did the rest of this investment go? But here's where it gets even uglier. Renewable incentives do exist. Federal credits, state rebates, batteries, solar, wind, efficiency programs. These could lower bills. But utilities drag their feet, sabotage rollouts, and still hike rates. They want incentives without passing the savings on to you. Carrot in one hand, the whip in the other. But then there's the so-called energy reform light / fight. We got clean energy laws. You name it, we've got it. It's insane to me. Let's look a little bit down here. I got some stats for you guys. As I sit here, this is burning a hole through my soul. I'm a moderate, like I said, but but the Michigan State Public Schools, these are Whitmer stooges, and I'm not calling because she's a Democrat. Dan Scripps, I think that's how you say his last name. Industry lawyers locked to 2029. Catherine Piritic, next era revolving door to 2027. Keela Myers, Whitmer's lapdog jammed in 2025 to 2031, or 2031, sorry. They greenlight hikes while the outages mock us. The latest cases are exploding. DTE electric hike, or, they're, like I said, they're asking for the $574 million. The here's overcharges that are like I was saying earlier, make you want to hurl your phone. Consumers has been fined $1 million in 2024. Refunds only if you catch it. 5% interest after 60 days, 3 years back, over $10. Tiny errors, swallow them. No auto audits, no fight or forfeit. These complaints are exploding after hikes, but the monopoly gridlock shields them. Why do we absorb their atrocities? This is intentional gouging, legalized robbery in so many ways. Rage harder, utilities profit while they're supposed to be nonprofit entities. Dead last in outage, like I was saying earlier. Let's dig into some of the meat, right? 12 hours for big storms, 162 minutes yearly average. Bottom 10 in the United States. DTE improving as we have some of the highest rates. The Cub 2025 report, it's the worst in the Midwest. Second worst nationally. Billions they've gotten from hikes. Wasted. They're saying it's not. I mean, it's probably not if you live in the upper income brackets, but the average person who doesn't, they ain't seen nothing. It's insane to me. On high rates, there's zero results. It's the scam of the century in so many ways. Our economy's hemorrhaging, jobs right now to a degree, depending what industry you're in. Inflation's been crazy the last several years, and they don't seem to give a damn. Fix this dumpster fire. 5 to 10 years, like I was saying, for scraps, right? But it's insane. When we're talking about scraps, let's look at the renewables, because they're wanting 60% renewables by 2035, 100% by 2040. 2023 laws still stand amid attacks. The federal ITC, 30% uncapped for solar, geothermal, batteries through Michigan homes, or through Michigan snack, $210 million rollout up until April 2025. The utility perks, $3.87 million in 9 communities. Let's think about some of them numbers, right? Those are just some of like the more standout numbers. Well, what's the policy reform actually doing? The good, bad, and the sellouts. 2023 Clean Energy and Jobs Act set aggressive targets in the state of Michigan. But 2026 brings war. Utilities filing IRPs, the Michigan Public Service Commission, the reliability orders / storage targets. But, GOP bills they gut sitting reforms, letting the MPSC override locals. So local governments that do try to do things right are given overridden at the state level because some things the Republicans doing, as Democrats on the flip side are pushing another item. It's the Mackinac Center, or the Mackinac Center, their priorities: nuclear over green. We need to scrap subsidies. Tom Leonard, GOP, he's running on expanded of the commission, but he wants to ban ex parte, repeal overrides, and kill carbon goals. HEPA forces HOAs to allow solar / EV by April 2026. The data center transparency bills, those are going through. This is something that we definitely need. Tom Leonard's definitely wants to put a moratorium on them. Whitmer's against it. I'm not endorsing Tom Leonard, but I think he is pretty spot on with some of this on these issues. But let's look a little bit let's compare ourselves to our next door neighbor, right? Ohio. They protect families though while we sell out. They're doing it right, and they're laughing at our mess. Ohio residential rates just $17.66 cheaper than our per kilowatt hour. That's cheaper than our 19.94 cents gouge. They're an industrial state too. They rank better nationally while we sit at the bottom. Data centers, that's causing these problems. Ohio's number 5 in the nation with over 200 facilities, but PUCO forces them to pay their own way. Yes, companies can pay their own way to build things without your tax dollars. They have to prepay 85% of projected costs for the infrastructure. Full tariffs, no shift to your bill. Meta dropping massive nuclear deals, extending Perry/Davis Best plants. There's new Oklo small reactors up to 6.6 gigawatts, specifically for data centers. Clean, reliable, no gouging the residents. They tie tax breaks to performance, they demand transparency, and they cap rate hikes. Michigan used to have this. Look back into the 1990s and you'll see. Ohio reliability crushes ours. No bottom 10 blackouts, moderates. This is what smart policy looks like. It doesn't mean it's going to be the same in Michigan or that would even be as successful in Michigan. We don't know. But what we're doing definitely isn't working for our pocketbooks. I can tell you that. Michigan, we fast-track sellouts with weak conditions. Attorney General Nessel is still fighting to reopen. Ohio builds nuclear for AI. We pave farms and pay the grid and pray the grid doesn't collapse. But here's the rage on that. Why are we the suckers getting screwed while Ohio tells everyone tech tycoons pay up or get out? That makes sense, right? But the bombshell I demanded you stay for, the deeper AI data center sellout, that's pure treason against Michigan families. It's worse than you probably even thought. The $7 billion Stargate hyperscale monster in Saline Township, I believe the companies involved are Oracle, OpenAI, and I think Related Digital. 1.4 gigawatt vampire suck equal to all of Detroit or over 1 million homes in Michigan. On 575 acres of prime farmland gone forever, here's the flip side of that. That farmland goes away, your food prices go up. Or you get forced to eat more processed foods. The Public Service Commission conditionally approved on December 18th. 3 to ex parte. Strongest protections, my ass. Nessel petitioned a rehearing for January, February 2026. DT won't guarantee no subsidies. Construction already ramping with traffic chaos February 2026. The initial zoning rejections sued/settled away. Jobs, BS, no real ratepayer is shielded. Impacts, they're deeper than hell than you think. The jobs that they're promising, they're not coming true. Look at some of the other things that the Michigan Economic had to pretty much admit that they gave a bunch of companies free money to. There's one center that could drive 8 to 40% of demand growth by 2030, risking $18 billion extra electricity system costs over 25 years, not passed on to them, not coming out of their profits. It's coming out of your electric bills. Can they at least give us a free subscription or something? We need new gas plants. The grid string guarantees more blackouts for all families of all political walks of life. We need spikes in supply that would make sense. It's got to be done clean, right? But when you look at the massive water suck for cooling these things, I know a lot of states are going towards geothermal cooling so they don't have to use the water table. I believe right now, there's 64 proposals statewide, 19 towns have moratoriums, so people are starting to push back. It's built lightning fast, 9 to 12 months online, for late 2026, I believe. No hikes. It's the biggest damn lie ever. Well, rates up 130% since 2006. For some, insiders fast-track billionaires' welfare. Let's contrast to Ohio. They make data centers, fund nuclear, and prepay for what they want. That means that they put up the money, not us, the taxpayer. No resident subsidy. Michigan, we subsidize the gouge and they laugh at us. And then when we say, hey, we may not be able to afford it, they're like, oh, well, we may have to shut everything down. So you're telling me half hour or hour down from my house, you can make a huge profit doing the same thing, but coming across this border, you can't? Somebody's getting screwed, and it sounds like us. The farms get destroyed, the reliability is doomed, your bill skyrockets. This is the gouge of the century. Corporate takeover is selling our souls and future. Wrapping this up, right? Corrupt appointees, it seems. I'm not for sure because I don't know the personal things on them. It's endless hikes. I mean, they're wanting more even after they just got some last year. Overcharges, trash grid, hidden incentives, policy war. Ohio's better, and come on, we all know Michigan's better. Deep AI betrayal because they're not wanting to do things the right way. This hit like a freight train sledgehammer. Do you agree? Subscribe, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, rate us, share with every moderate boiling over this crap. Support the show, do everything you can. I'll catch you guys later.